Welcome to this presentation of Social Economic Networkers. This is for the first time we're doing it in English. I'm very happy that you're taking the time today to hear something different, as I mentioned before. Social Economic Network is a group of professionals that has had over 15 years of experience taking people from many different professions and making them professionals in the industry of network marketing and giving them the opportunity to develop freedom and personal growth and take a business to another level and take their family and the way they're living to a different type of living. It's something that people are usually not used to. Let me explain how I ended up doing this type of business. My name is Paula, and I've always been a dreamer. And my parents told me that I should go to college, which I did, because I needed to be a professional. And I needed to be a professional because I needed a way in which I could earn a living. And I did what they told me. I went to college, but then I started evaluating how the world is constantly changing. And the way my grandfathers and the way my parents earned a living is not the same way I'm gonna make a living. So I realized that back in the day when my grandfathers decided to go to college, basically the people that owned land, agriculture, were the people that were making money. But then the industrial revolution came. So many people like my grandfathers decided they had to go to college because it would give them an advantage over the rest of the population. So that's what they did. They went to college. My grandmother became a college professor. My grandfather became an engineer. So what did they do? When they had kids, they told my parents that they should be professionals as well. So that's what my parents did. They went to college. But what happened after that? My parents told me that I should go to college as well. But then things changed. It's when my grandparents went to college, they had an advantage. But nowadays, so many people go to college and they'll have the same degrees that you don't have an advantage anymore. So we study, and it's harder for my generation to get like a good job for the rest of your life where you could work for 40 years. So I realized that we were constantly changing and that right now we're in an artificial intelligence era where people are basically losing most of their jobs. People that basically work at like Home Depot or McDonald's or Burger King, the type of job that a machine work eventually would substitute a human. So I realized that the opportunities my grandfathers had and my parents had wasn't the same opportunities I had. So I started working. The first obstacle I faced is I couldn't find a job in what I studied, so I had to work at something else. I started working at an education company when I studied business administration. But I studied business administration with a marketing concentration, but the education company had a marketing department. So that was my goal, to start working, climb the corporate ladder, and get to where I wanted to be. When I eventually moved to that department, I realized that most of the people that had the same college degree I had more than one job. So they would leave the office and they would go to another job. And that made me realize that would be me in a couple of years. So I started thinking, I was young back then, a couple 20 something. So I told my parents how I was feeling about what was going on. And my parents told me there's only one thing you could do. You need to go back to college, you need to get a master's. You need to continue studying, because if you continue to study, you might have an advantage over the rest of the population. So you can have a good job and you can have a secure job. But being honest with you guys, I'm not really the type of studying. I'm not that good of a student. So I realized that I needed to look for something else, something different if I wanted to have different results. Back then, my mother-in-law, she was looking for something different. Why was she looking for something different? Because she realized that when she retired, she wasn't going to be making the same amount of money she was used to. So in order for her to be comfortable, she needed to do something else when that moment comes, when she retired, she had her Social Security. When she started looking for opportunities, she met social economic networkers, and they talked to her about the network marketing industry. and how it works, and how it lets people, common people like you and me, develop royalties or residual income. So how does this network marketing business work? It's simple. It just breaks with the basic marketing chain, where a product passes through a process and a series of intermediaries, where they finally get to the consumer. In that process, the consumer plays basically, he's a victim. He pays more than 100%. The main income goes to the factory, and then the other 60% is divided between all the people that gets the product to the consumer. I'm getting a little bit confused with English and Spanish. I'm sorry. But then in the network marketing industry, they realized that they could break all the chain that the marketing industry has, and the product could go directly from the consumer to the network, which is the same consumers. Where the consumer in the basic marketing chain, it loses because he pays over 100%. And the big money is in the people that takes the product to the consumer. In the network marketing business, the consumer makes 60%, where the factory keeps the 30%, and the 60% that's divided between all the intermediaries goes to the consumer as an income. When I saw that, it was something that I wasn't really used to. I didn't understand that. I understand that if you buy a Coca-Cola, you pay $1 for it, and it's only 2 cents to make the Coca-Cola. But I realized there's a big amount of money in taking the product to the consumer. So I realized that if I joined this network marketing business, I could develop the type of income that I wanted. The biggest thing about this network marketing business is that the type of income you develop here is not normal income. It's an income that's a residual income. Usually, whether you went to college or not, whether you studied or not, whether you're a doctor or you're a security guard, you have a linear income. And what do you do in a linear income? You exchange time for money. If you're a doctor, you go to a hospital, you're exchanging time for money. If you're a security guard, let's say you work at a mall, you do the same thing. You change time for money. So this network marketing industry, what it does, it lets you develop royalties. And how do you develop these royalties? You develop them just by working 1 or 2 hours a day, which is great. Why? Because I already have my job. I already was a college student. So just working 1 or 2 hours a day was something that I could do, because I wasn't going to leave my job to start a new business. I wasn't going to drop out of college to start a new business. But it was something I could do in my spare time. I could do this for an hour a day, like we're doing today, while I was back in college, while I was working. So I realized that in the linear income, we work most of our lives. We work for 8 to 12 hours. When I realized this, I started thinking about my parents. Both of them are doctors, so they have higher levels of education than I do. And ever since I can remember, they leave the house at 4 a.m., they got to the house at 7 p.m. Right now I'm 33 years old, and they have the same rate of life for 33 years since I was born. So I realized that we work most of our lives 8 to 12 hours from 60 to 40 years. And let me ask you this. Is it the same thing to take a vacation when you're 30 or to take a vacation when you're 90? But we don't realize this, because we work and we work and we work, and when we get to the 15th and the 30s, we get paid and we get happy. So we forget that most of our life is work. My grandfather, he was a civil engineer. He died at 86 years old, and he was still working. He loved being an engineer. But no one works unless they have a need that they need to work for. He was used to a certain lifestyle. With his Social Security, he couldn't live that lifestyle, so he had to go back to work. And I ask you, how long will you work till you're 90? Right now, I'm 33 years old, and my generation is going to work till they're 90, basically. How long will you work to retire? So I realized that this network marketing lets you work from 1 to 2 hours a day. which is great because you can start your own business while you're still working or you're still studying, like I did. And in 2 to 5 years, you can develop financial freedom. And what is financial freedom? I don't mean that you're going to be a millionaire. I mean that just imagine what I'm going to tell you now. Imagine that you can maintain the same lifestyle you have right now, but instead of working 40 hours a week, you work 1 hour a day, 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month. How many hours do you work a month? For how long will you have to work? I'm telling you that if you do this type of business and you develop royalties, you could be financially free in 2 to 5 years. And who developed these royalties? Well, for the first time in network marketing, common people like us can develop royalties, but musicians develop royalties. Business owners like Donald Trump and people that write books develop royalties. Actors like Al Pacino develop royalties. And if you think about this people's lifestyle, is it good? That's what I'm telling you. For the first time, this type of income is open to common people like you and me. When I saw that, I want to have that lifestyle. So I'm going to tell you what happened. I started working with social economic networkers, and in 2 to 5 years, me and my wife, we stopped working. Didn't have to work for no one anymore. In 2 to 5 years, we just started spreading the word around the world that there was something different. And today, I'm gonna tell you what I did today. I woke up when I wanted to wake up. I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. I don't have an alarm clock next to my bed anymore. I woke up when I wanted to wake up. The next thing I did is I went to my grandmother's house. I spent most of the day with my wife and my grandmother because I think that's the best thing you can do in life. Spend your time with the people you love. So I went out with my grandmother. We went out to eat. When we got back home, we shared this opportunity with a friend of ours, and then we just waited to share this opportunity with you guys. We've been spreading the word around the world. We've traveled the world just telling people that there's something different and there's something they can do without leaving their jobs and just doing work in 1 hour a day and sharing with people that there's something different, that there's hope out there. So what do? To develop these royalties in network marketing. In network marketing, we associate ourselves with this factory, with this company that's called For Life Research. For Life Research is a research company that has the patent for the most advanced discovery of alternative medicine, which is called transfer factor. And what does transfer factor do? Transfer factor is a molecule which they discovered that raises your immune system, and what your body is doing wrong, it starts doing right. In my case, I had sinusitis. I always had a runny nose. My eyes were always droopy. I always had allergies, always. So I started taking transfer factor. So it raised my immune system, and I stopped being so sensitive to everything that was out there, to pollen, to everything. I stopped using the medicine I had to use, like the nasal pumps or the pills I had to take for my allergies. I stopped taking all the medication by just taking transfer factor. And it might sound like something silly or something simple, but closer to my family, my wife's uncle, he had diabetes. So he started taking transfer factor. It was focused for people that had diabetes. It's called glucose. And he started taking glucose, and his body recognized what was going wrong, what he was doing wrong. So he started using the transfer factor, and therefore his body started producing insulin. And when it started producing insulin, what happened? He didn't have to take the medicine anymore. So there's many and many and many people around the world that have testimonies about how good they are doing with transfer factor. So I encourage you to look information about transfer factor, see how it's doing. It's a great product. I'm telling you, you need to have it in your house. But the company didn't stop there. The company realized that this molecule was so powerful that it could put it in different departments. From the energy department, you'll like energy drinks, from an energy that's healthy and it's good for you, to weight loss, to anti-aging or skin care. They have the best products, like I mentioned before. Why? Because it's a research company, and they always want to have the best products out there. But I'm not really here to sell you a product. I'm here to talk to you about something different, about how can you develop royalties by just sharing with people that there's something different out there. Like I mentioned before, For Life has many, many products, but what we're doing here is we're developing a network. Let's say we compare this to YouTube. What do musicians do in YouTube? They connect people to YouTube. As many people as they can connect to YouTube, they get paid. The same way we do with Spotify, or the same way that someone does with Uber. As many people they can take them from point to another when they work with Uber, they get paid. Well, what we have to do is connect people with full life research, and we get royalties. So what I thought is it could be more, it could be less. This is what social economic networkers has as a business plan. Let's say you have 6 friends, they want to develop royalties. Let's say you have 6 friends, they're looking for an opportunity out there. Like they want to have like better finances, or you just have a friend that wants to take care of himself and lose a couple pounds, this and that. Well, you talk to them about full life research. And what do they have to do to develop these royalties? They have to do 100 points. And what's 100 points? It's 2 transfer factors. This is 1 transfer factor. So you have to move 2 transfer factors. 2 transfer factors. So what did I do? I bought 1 from my wife and I bought 1 from myself. And the business started. That's when I realized this business was bigger than just sales. So I started talking about people. There was something different, that I met social economic networkers, and then we shared this with other people that could develop those royalties. So let's just make this hypothetical number. Let's say that you share this with 6 of your friends that do the same thing we're doing. You take 2 transfer factors, which is 100 points. 6 of your friends, assuming 100 points, that's 600 points. At the percentages that the company gives to us, the royalties, that would be $12. But if you join the loyalty program, the company tells you that just by joining the loyalty program, you're going to make an extra $50. Or have you heard that before? Just by joining a loyalty program, you make an extra $50. I would join the loyalty program. It makes total sense. So now you're making $62 just by sharing this opportunity with your friends and taking care of yourself. That's what you have to do. So what happened? I started sharing this with my friends. I shared it with my coworkers, and eventually the ones who joined my business share it with other people. Because you know people that I don't know. That's how I ended up sharing this opportunity with you today. Because someone you met told you there was something going on, then you need to hear about it. So let's say there's 6 of your friends share it with other 6 friends. With the help of social economic networkers, that's really, really easy. So they share with other friends. 6 times 6 is 36. Consuming the 2 transfer factors, so it would be 3,600 points. At 25%, that would be $900. But like I mentioned before, if you're part of the loyalty program, you get a bonus just by being part of the loyalty program. Therefore, it will be $900 plus the 12 plus $200 bonuses. So we're talking about $1,000, $112, $1,112. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that's what we do. We share the business with other people. Eventually, it keeps growing. It's not how many people would you share it with. You share it with 6 of your friends. They share with other 6. And like I mentioned before, people people that I don't know. So people keep sharing it with people. With the help of social economic network, it eventually keeps growing. It keeps growing to where it's 36 share it with 36 more. So it becomes 21,600. And the 5% is 1,080. Plus the 900, plus the 12, plus the bonus if you're in the loyalty program, for a total of $2,700. With $2,700, many people in Puerto Rico would definitely leave their jobs and just do network marketing. I don't know if you're a doctor. I don't know if you're just a student or if you're happy where you're today. But $2,000, $500, $1,000, just speaking to someone in your spare time, that's great. And I'll be honest with you. When I saw this, I had 3 feelings. I dreamed because I saw something that give the lifestyle that I wanted to give to my family. The second thing I felt like a purpose. I felt goals because I met a team. I met social economic networkers, and they had a plan. through which I could be successful and make my dreams come true. And third, I'll be honest, I felt a little scared because there was something that I had never heard before. I didn't want to sound silly. I didn't want to sound like a fool. So I kept thinking, it made me think about the Bible. It made me think about David. David killed the giant. Obviously, he had God by his side, but he didn't really see an obstacle. He didn't see a giant. He just saw another man. It made me think there's no giants out there. I just need to share this opportunity. There's going to be people that there's going to run the race with me. So today, I ask you to search for information about social economic networkers. I tell you to look for about royalties, because there's different things going on out there, and there's people living a different lifestyle. I always like to tell a little story. Back in Puerto Rico, we're really fans of boxing, and it's a story about this kid who lost his fight, and he got out of the ring. He was crying. He told his father that he lost his fight, and father, but you got to learn how to lose. He's crying and looks at his father, and he tells his father that he's tired of losing, that he wants to know how it feels to win. And I don't really know how you felt today before you got into this meeting, but I want to let you know that this is the winners team, and there's people here having great success and doing different things, and I exhort you to be part of our team. So good night, and welcome to Social Economic Networkers. Just call the person that told you to join this meeting, ask them about Social Economic Networkers, ask them how can you join and then have the benefits of Poor Life Research. If we invited you, you can contact us through WhatsApp. Whatever you need, if you need our phone number, it's 787-407-1466. So we're going to do more live like this. This is the first one in English. We're going to get used to it. It's going to be even better next time. And it's going to be in our new office. So I wish all of you the success in the world, and keep in touch, and have a good night.